Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, have all the excitement. Yeah, you know. All right. So, gonna make a start. Yes. This is like one of the days that excitement, you know, it's like you have a baby and you're going to do your outdoor and, you know, the world is going to know what is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Teddy Abrokwa and I've got my sister. I'm qualified to say that, am I not? My sister,
yes, you
the
are.
lovely, the angelic voice, you know, or you can, the fancy girl, most especially, you know, Adina is on the other side of the Zoom call today. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I've been on a journey with you since this album started. I know
Beginning.
Yeah, I feel like I've been through every phase of it, you know, through to New Zealand and back to Ghana and we catching up. Oh man. And finally, the album is out today, October the 30th. I know anytime that you get to see this very conversation, then you know that when you check your app store or wherever you get your music from, Araba will be in there. 10 tracks. And today we're going to just digest exclusively the behind the scene stories. You know, like I said, it's been a process, so there must be a lot of stories to this. Ladies and gentlemen, Adina Araba Thembi is on the phone. I was going to say on the phone, but, you know, yes, you're on the call with me right here on the Soundboy Session with me, Teddy Abrokwa. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How are you feeling, though? Like I said, I feel like I've gone through the process with you, and I'm literally exhausted. So, how does it feel for you?
It's amazing. It's crazy because, you know, everybody that I've had interview me since I started my journey has always been asking for an album. So to see that it's here today, it's surreal because it's like, oh my God, did we really put it together? But also I'm excited and I can't wait for people to get into it properly and, you know, digest the story because it's a story. And it's a message, and it's important that people get it. So yeah, I'm excited.
And who are the subjects of this story? I know it's the title is Araba. We'll talk briefly about it, but who's the characters of this story?
For the main story, it's really all about me, but it branches, you know, to talk about different aspects of my life. It introduces my mother, who is in the track 1, the intro, as you guys may have heard. And I've also got a song about my father. I talk about love. I talk about people that may go through depression, you know. It's just a bit of a roller coaster emotional piece for everybody, but it's mainly based on my life and everything around me. Exactly.
So we know you are Araba, you know, your mom. Well, I must say that was some deep Fanti she was speaking there, you know. If you understand Fanti, then you know that she was really going in. Which part of the Fanti land is she from?
I'm from Ejumako Kume.
In the central region, I suppose.
Yes, in the central region. Yeah.
So anyone who
so a lot of people know of Mankesim and Abasa and yeah. So it's not too far from Mankesim. So it's before you get to Cape Coast, after Winneba, you know.
I've got to say they've got some good loads of loaf of bread. You know that the bread.
Yes, that's very true. That's one thing. Like it's always fresh, and you find it by the roadside. So when you're going and you're hungry, you just stop and buy some bread and Charlie. Yeah, good.
We used to do the chofi because I schooled in Cape Coast, so we used to do the chofi back then.
Oh. What school did you go to?
Augustine's.
Nice.
So Young Swift, Nana Kwame, that was my schoolmate from primary. We actually went to the same primary school, same secondary school. Yeah, so you know how it's like. Yeah, but the whole journey to Cape Coast was fantastic, man. You get a.
Isn't it fun? Like you have all these interesting stops that you can make, and they sell Octopus.
Oh
Don't
yes,
they?
yeah.
At Apam, is it Apam Junction or Winneba Junction?
Winneba
They
Junction.
sell
They've got Winneba
octopus.
Junction. They've got Apam Junction as well.
Yeah, but where do they have the octopus now?
The octopus, I think, is Apam Junction. Or yeah, if I remember correctly. But hey, never mind. It's still on the way to Cape Coast. Yeah. So
Nostalgia.
I know, right? I know. There are some moments on this album that I've had the exclusive pleasure of listening to before coming out, and I'm privileged for that opportunity. But talk about the intro. Your mom is on there. How much of an influence does that Fanti side have on this particular project?
I mean, we spoke a lot of Fanti. We sang in Fanti mostly. So that's the heavy presence there. But even if we didn't, I feel like the introduction kind of carries the whole album because it's very significant, it's massive. The whole vibe of the intro is like when the chief is about to do something great and they have someone go like and announce to say, Nanebo, otutu tata, that kind of thing. So It gave my very first album such prominence and such value and worth that even if we didn't sing in Fanti, I feel like the Fanti intro was enough to like handle it. But we still did sing in Fanti. My mom, gave us a lot of words to support us. And yeah, I can say it's a serious ode to my Fanti side.
Of course. If you're not aware of this song, the Senua is a folk song. It's
exactly
powerful, man, powerful. But what I was saying, I know everybody in the house is going to be excited about the album dropping. But I was talking about your mom's involvement. She's you've mentioned about how her grind. She's been able to bring you and your siblings up. You can never deny the strength of an African woman, particularly in shaping up the home. You talk about your mom on the track 2, Sheldon, which means stay strong. We often see a beautiful woman, very beautiful voice, who's taking her time to build her career up. We all see the bubbly side, the laughing, the smiling. Adina, what is the tough part of your growing up that we need to know about? Because for you to have that motivation to tell us to stay strong, it means you have experienced something.
Yeah, I mean, I listed some of those things in the track too. About rent issues. My mom had to bring us up by herself because my father passed away when we were very young, and all she had was her fashion design skills. And my mom is the type of person that's able to make things come up. There's some people that can just make things happen from the ground up. She's that sort of person. So we came to Ghana. She had nothing. She decided to build from the ground up, and she made clothes to take us through school, to every stage of our lives. She was there. And one thing that she did that helped us was she didn't really make us feel it too much. It was just a few days that maybe I'll come back from school and I'm hungry. So I'm like, Ma, what are we eating? And she's like, today we don't have anything at home. And one time she told me that. And I was so sad because I started crying. But it was weird for me. Not weird on some tantrum level, but weird like, oh my God, why don't we have food? Because I was a regular kid. None of the hardships around me, my mom didn't let any of that affect me. I was a very popular child in school. They all knew me for my brains and the fact that I could sing. And I was very outspoken and so, and my mom made clothes. So she always made sure that we look good. She made sure our shoes were always looking good. So in the public's eye, maybe people would think that we came from a very good background. But it wasn't really the case. She just made sure that we always looked right for school, we looked right for church, wherever we were going. We didn't wear, tattered clothing. She really made sure we looked okay and we were okay. So for me to be living that or understanding that I'm good, because sometimes the hardships affect the children. They come to now realize that, oh my God, we don't have, so I can't even push in life. Even if I want to go anywhere, I no need to bother. You understand? And it spoils, I feel like it limits the children's ability to create or to be whatever they want to be.
Yeah,
One thing that I really like about my mom is that she never made us feel the hardship. She would rather, there's a photo of a parent covering up their child, and then there's arrows at their back.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Basically, they are bleeding. Yeah. So she did that. She weathered the storm to make sure that we didn't feel it. And so for me to come back home for her to say that there's no food, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I was crying. And that really broke her heart. She decided that no matter what happens, she won't even let me know that there's nothing at home. She would just make sure it's provided. And I really, really thank God for her life, because all those things that she did, all the psychological training and everything, like how she even psyched herself to make sure we were good in that regard, I think it's just commendable. And I owe my everything to my mom. I didn't talk like my mom. My fashion sense, the way I like to make clothes, I picked it from her. And the way I like to work hard, how much I'm a perfectionist, everything is from her. And I really owe everything. And I'm just thankful to God that I was able to go through all those things. And I had her to hold my hand and lift me through the ashes to where I am now. And
she's still involved in what you are doing. That's so beautiful.
Oh, yes. Very much so.
What's her name? Let's give her a round,
Auntie Mercy.
Auntie Mercy. Auntie Mercy. Now, that's so beautiful. It's a reflection on you, and I can see from the smile. She's still involved in your life, involved in your career, being on the intro. That's even big. And shedding, that's another statement too. I know you lost your pops a long time ago, but you can always bring that memory back of him. I know you've got a track on that. We'll touch on that later. But how old were you then when you lost your dad?
When he passed away, I was 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know because I was born in Liberia. So my mom and dad met in Liberia. He gave that to us there. And then a few months after I was born, the war broke out. And it got really bad. They literally blocked borders. So there wasn't enough, we couldn't move in and out. And my dad was working at, say, Accra. And we were living in Tise Tamale. Or even Kumasi. So for my mom to meet my dad, and because my dad was a medical officer, he got free, you get a bag of rice and some provisions as payment from the hospital. And because he knew he had kids, he would tell my mom to come and get it. And it got to a time that my mom couldn't even move to where he was because the rebels had blocked different, you can't even move from Accra to Kumasi or from Accra to Kaswa or something. It was that crazy. So we were stuck where we were. He was stuck where he was. He wrote letters to try and reach us. And then we lost touch. So we came to Ghana on the Ecomog ship because J.J. Rollins at that time.
Yeah, I remember that story. Yeah.
So we were part of the people that came. By then, my father we didn't know where he was. He was stuck here. So according to my cousins in SA, 5 years, in 95, there was a UN small plane that was flying to South Africa from Liberia. And he's been trying to go back home because he's been trying to get to us. That's not working out. So he's like, Charlie, you just go home and try and find us later. So they told him to hop on the thing. He got the opportunity to go home. No, he actually left before 95. He died in 95.
Oh.
He died in a car accident in South Africa. Yeah, but he went back. Life wasn't good for him. The things he had seen, because as a doctor, he had to now be taking care of the wounded soldiers and Charlie, the terror and everything.
The trauma. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So he told his siblings there that he doesn't think he's gonna live long. After what he's seen, he doesn't think he can bear it in his mind. And I hear the accident that happened. He had to choose between hitting somebody or driving into the wall. And he chose to drive into the wall to save the person. I guess he felt like he didn't really have anything to live for. And he would always gather kids to celebrate our birthdays because he was like, oh my God, I left my children. He was sad that, he'd be lost. It really affected him. So fast forward to when I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm growing up in Ghana. I know my father is South African. I'm trying to reach him. We've been trying. It's not working out. We don't know even where to start, who to hit up.
Yeah.
And people keep asking me, what does Adina Thembi and Damzi mean? So I'm like, okay, let me go to the cafe. Back then it was the cafe. Let me go to the cafe and find out what my name means. So I searched in Damzi, South Africa, and the article that came up, it was my father's firstborn that he gave her to an essay before he came to Liberia. And she's giving an account of her father, and she's like, my late father, Dr. Richard II Damzi. So that's how I found out that he had passed away. And it was a funeral in the cafe.
I know.
I started crying. Everybody's like, what's going on? Oh my God, it was mad. And my mom said apparently some people that she knew from Liberia had told her, she met someone at the market, and they're like, hey, do you know your husband died? Like out of the blue.
Oh dear.
And she knew how much I wanted to meet him, and we all wanted to meet him. So she didn't want to tell us. So when we told her that, this is what they are saying from the cafe, she was like, yeah, she knew, but it was really tough for her. She didn't know how to break the news. So yeah, that's basically the whole father story.
Oh man, but at least you're now connected to your South African side. You've been able to.
Yes, I am. I'm very, very much in touch with them. We've been there many times. They've been here, and yeah, the family is together again.
We give thanks for that. So Adina is you are a mixed bag. Born in Liberia, grown up in Ghana. South African blood, so
Father,
the musical influences, how much of that comes to bear on this album, drawing from all these?
You will on the Daddy's Little Girl song, you could tell that we had
the intro
backings from, not even the intro, it was an a cappella song, and a cappella growing up, it was always from South Africa, the whole homeless people, because they had all the backing things in the thing, so we needed that. So that's a big influence on this album. And I've been drawing inspiration from my different parts since I was a child. I've been listening to songs from different people, from SA, from Ghana, from my Liberian people. So it kind of forms a foundation of what I am today.
Yeah, so we have the beautiful songstress Adina on the Soundboy Session with me, Teddy Abrokwa. The next track I'm going to talk about is Why. That's the third track on the album. I love the smile on the face. That is a track that when I got it, I played it twice on YFM. My show is actually 1 hour, so for me to play a track twice, it means to pull up, as they say. I don't know, now you're a DJ Araba, so you know the terms now. I had to pull up on that one. Yes. It's a track I love. One, because I'm heavily influenced by reggae, but secondly, not the vocals, but the whole style of it was like you stepped out of the Adina we know.
Yeah.
What was the decision making to release that as a first single? Was that straightforward, that this is a standout track, or somebody had to push for that to be the lead single?
From the time that we recorded the song, we knew it was going to be the lead single because it was so different and it was so good. But we hadn't finished. So we're like, let's record more and see. Maybe we'll get another one that will come and compete. And we did get other songs that we thought, maybe those ones should come out. But everybody still felt like, nah, Why is the song? Because Why, like you said, is a standalone track. It's not the usual Adina Thembi. So we felt like if we didn't make it, apart from the fact that it's a very good song, if we didn't make it the intro, like the beginning song, the single for the album, it might get lost in it because people don't really know me for that. You know what I mean? So it was necessary to throw the spotlight on it to say, okay, check this out. We did this too, and it's really good. Oh,
it came out correct, man. And that's also Richie's production. He was heavily involved with this album, and that's something that it's not like your regular Richie kind of. We know how super talented he is, but the video as well. Let's talk about the video, which is out now. You had Van Veka in there. Van is also got Liberian Connect.
Yes, we were talking about that. I mean, I had heard before, but we were talking about that on set. He was telling me about, the Liberian side. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so when I was in secondary school first year, I think Van Veka was in his final year.
He was in your school?
No, he was in Infantipim, so he was in but we were all in the
Okay.
Cape Coast. So.
Yeah, because I went to Wesley Girls, so we were talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more. There's more connection than ever. But you know, Van is somebody who's been. He plays your love interest in the video. He's been very famous for a long time. You know.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you first heard about Van? we're not throwing his age out, you know, but it's like he's been there forever.
Well, it might not be an age conversation. It might be that he's been doing this for a long time.
That's what I mean.
Some people started when they were young, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even remember, but I think I was probably in JSS or something. Or primary. Like, he's been doing this thing for a while now.
A long time, man. But he hasn't changed, you know. It's like he looks like
it's
before.
True. He's like a vampire. He looks the same.
Yeah, his name is Van, so you know. But hey,
you know,
at some point I was saying to myself, are we safe? Are we DJs safe? Is she coming for our job? Are you seriously coming for our jobs though?
No, I don't know anything about DJing. Even that day, thanks to my actual DJ and other DJ friends that came on set to help, like Wallpaper, Viroski gave us the instruments, and then DJ Chihuahua. I had to take tips from them on some, okay, so how does this work, you know? And they're like, there's this pin, when you drop it, you have to be spinning this. I'm like, oh my God. No, but I had to learn it for the job, and I don't think I'm going to try DJing.
Why not?
I do my own DJing in my room, playing the song after this song, after that song. That I'm kind of good at, but I don't know if I can do it for an event.
You never know. Maybe just consider some of the new there's a lot of opportunities out there as well. You know, once you are not on tour, you never know what you can come up with. But one thing I clocked was, why did they forget the mixer? Where was the mixer? I didn't see mixer on there.
To be honest, I have no idea what they are using for. I have no idea, but I think. Wait, so did they still have the mixers in the old school times?
Yeah, they still have mixers.
The theme of the video is also like retro.
Yeah.
You know, vintage, retro vibes.
I think they forgot to put the mixer in there. So you've got a 2 turntable, they should have had a mixer so you can be cross fading. So when I see Chihuahua and Viroski, I have questions for them. I have questions for Kwame as well. But I love the track. Why? Have you been hit with requests for remixes? Because I know anyone who hears this track tells me, whoa, this needs some like funky remix. They need break it into so many markets.
Boy, since the what's that thing called? Since we put out a little bit of it to say coming soon, since then, and then when the song was released and when the video was released, the messages have been crazy. People keep pitching different
ideas,
dancehall and reggae artists. They're like, you should put Samini on it, you should put Stoneboy on it, you should put Jupiter, you should put Episode. The list is long.
Yeah, maybe later when the song is done, is run a bit, we can let them jump on it. But you personally, I know who I would love to hear on this one with you.
Who?
Cranium or Jack Hill.
That would be crazy.
Cranium or Jack Hill.
That would be really good.
True. Those are the two that when I heard them, like,
there's also a guy. He sang 7-Eleven or 6 Shots. I forget his name.
7-Eleven.
Oh my goodness. Try it up. We don't know what you get to. Now then you get to. Natalie say. He said, she said, she keeps it too. I don't know how to do parts also. I might not be singing it right. But he sang that song.
7-Eleven.
Okay,
Dexter Daps, yes. That's the one.
Yes. Oh
Dexter
my God.
Daps. Okay.
I like Dexter because he's like a storyteller. And he's also a very good vocalist. So,
All right, it's in the air now. Dexter Daps. If you're watching this, you know what we're doing. We're here reviewing Adina's album, Araba, which is out now. So if you're watching this video or listening to this audio, make sure you go and download it. Wherever you get your music from, it's out there. 10 solid track album. Track 4, Game Over.
Yeah.
Yes. DJ Viroski was on the production, right? You know, you put out a track listing, so yeah. I was surprised. So I actually messaged Kwame like, did Viroski make the whole track, or he had some help? That's my favorite track on the album, I've got to say. Game Over.
Thank you. Shout out to DJ Viroski.
Game Over is my favorite. I know I have a special attachment or why, but Game Over gives a different vibe for me, you know, with the current Afrobeat settings that we're in. But that was some good production. Is that the first time you two have worked on a track?
Yeah, that's the first time Viroski is giving me a beat. And I think he's also been kind of playing around with the beats, like additions for his past productions. But I think this is the very first time he gave us like a body, like a piece to say, here, do something with it, you know?
Oh, he came out.
He debuted his beat making career on my album. How lucky am I?
Oh, we're gonna let that sink in a bit. You know, I'm sure there's more to come from him. But you talk about a bit of football in there. You mentioned Abedi Pele.
Yes.
Did you see Abedi Pele play football?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, all right. And so that you love your football.
Nah, I love it when Ghana's playing during the World Cup. You know, those like big teams. I'll watch. And I know certain faces. You know, it's easy for the ladies to say, "Oh, Kevin Prince Boateng," you know those things.
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this. They're always looking out for who's the good-looking player in there. I know.
No, who's really like coming through for us?
Really?
During those matches, nobody's paying attention to anything else. So we are all forced to watch it. And the euphoria in town is like crazy. So we all join in it. Even when we score, I join in the celebration. So why won't I watch the match?
Of course. I know that's a very safe answer there. You've spoken for all the ladies. I know they have their own reason why they watch it. But listen, so far so good. 4 tracks in. Hear me, you know. Those vocals and high keys. Like they say, blah, 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 blah. Wow, that was like it took it there. Like I'm like, this is a song that Celine Dion is going to be proud of, you know.
Oh wow, thank you.
No, because you hit the notes and it's like, wow, I'm just sat there listening. So you did the was it Mentor that you did? Which
As in the Future.
Yes. So you know you are used to that vocal ability, you know, high notes, ballads and stuff like that. And you are mentoring artists now in the current competition.
Yes, on the show, yeah.
Yeah. So how much of it, you know, came to mind when you were recording this track?
By the time we were doing the album, we hadn't signed the contract to do it again.
No, I mean when you competed, how much of that memory came back?
When I was doing Stars to the Future?
Yeah.
How much? You mean when I was recording this?
No, I mean when you were recording this album, how much of the memory from your days in the competition, how much did that come back to you?
I didn't really think about that. But that's also because I do a lot of these kind of singings by myself. Like I've always wanted to do a ballad. So I still learn some of these songs by Beyonce, Adele. And when I'm in my room, or sometimes I try to even push it to my list of songs for performances, I try to kind of like do it. So it's always been around me. Do you understand? I didn't put it in the back burner to not like have to think about it only when I was doing a ballad. It's always part of me. It's just that when I'm doing my Mama Koma Bomi Boom, I don't really need to apply that there. So I put it on hold. But on my everyday, my daily life, I'm that person.
Yeah, singing in the shower, you know.
Yeah, I'm that person. I make a lot of noise at home. My mom's like, "Yeah, it's okay."
We get it, you know. But
I know, right?
what were some of the musical influences for you?
Growing up, or for this song?
No, growing up in general.
I listened to a lot of Black American gospel. Shirley Caesar, Donnie McClurkin, I think that's the same. CC Winers, DV Winers, you know, all those people. That the Black gospel vibes, you know, because those people can really sing and they were very dynamic. And I used to sing in church, so I had to be learning those songs too.
Do you
to
still
be able to sing.
Do you still sing in church?
I stopped singing in church a while back because my career was getting more and more hectic. I was getting busier because before there was time to be able to go for rehearsals. Because Charlie, to be in a choir, you need to probably rehearse like twice a week, and sometimes it's Saturday nights or maybe Saturday during the day, and now you have a show. Like your business is booming, so you have a show. How are you going to be able to balance that? And I didn't want people to also think I am feeling like I'm better than everyone. That's why I'm not coming for rehearsals. They might not get it. That is because of work.
Yeah, of course.
So I just didn't want it to get weird. I said, Charlie, when I have a chance to sing in church, I will. But I'm going to put it on hold for now.
I'm sure they will love you back. Wait, what church do you normally worship at?
Winners Chapel.
Winners. Oh, okay. Yeah, you are a winner, so yeah, you know, why not?
Yeah.
So we on the breakdown of Araba, you know. So what was the standout moment for you recording this album, you know, studio wise? What was the day that you felt this has actually come together? Or it's coming together?
I would say when we did Daddy's Little Girl, and when we did Can You Hear Me? Because Can You Hear Me, I had to get the emotions. Like, people had to feel what I was trying to talk about when they listened to the song. So I literally had to go into the booth by myself. They dimmed the lights so people couldn't see me. And I had to get into those moments. Because it talks about depression, and when you're going through some tough moments and you can't really share with anybody. And it's like you're giving signs to people around you, hoping they'll pick up on it to say, oh, Charlie, I feel your pain. But they are not getting it. And you're going crazy and it's mad. And I've gone through such moments. So it's like I had to tap into that. And for me, that's the mark of a true musical art piece, because you should be able to tap into your emotions. You should be able to, you understand? So if you listen to the song, you realize it kind of sounded like I'm crying at some point.
Yeah.
Because it was real. It was me and my emotions. And my vocals, yes, I hit some high notes, but it wasn't, if I'm a perfectionist. So if I had to go back into the studio to re-sing some parts, I'll probably say, no, my voice was too shrill over here. But it was like that because of the emotions. And I feel like it was just the right kind of emotions to back the vocals. And that song, to me, that's when I felt like, wow, I'm doing something. Like, this album is really happening. And then Daddy's Little Girl, because every time we listened to it, it made us all emotional in the studio. And we were like, oh, wow.
Do you have any?
Those two songs.
Yeah, that's amazing, because it's like, so far, you know, it's just you taking us through your journey, you know, the disappointment, the strength of a woman, you know, the emotions. What's the memory you have of your dad? Do you have any? Because I know you said you were about 5 years old.
I was 5 years old, but I was 5 years old, but he was in another country.
Okay, so that's
I have
even
no memories.
Photographs. I know with the war and everything.
I've got photographs that I only got when we went to SA and went to talk to his sister, and I met like his brothers, my uncles, my aunties, basically, and my cousins and my siblings. I've got one sister there and two brothers. So they also like, and interestingly, both of my brothers look just like my father. So I feel like he was like, you know what? I'm not going to be here, but I'll leave a piece of me.
Of course.
So that Adina can see.
Of course. And I'm sure he's proud, you know, just as you mentioned in the track that, he's in a crowd somewhere looking. I'm sure your next performance somewhere, he's going to be there in spirit, looking at you. You know, touching those chords well, giving you that hug, what do you call it, spiritual hug when you finish your session, and he's gonna be like, give you that feel. So just put your mind to it. It's gonna later on when we meet in Accra and you come on the show, you're gonna tell us, oh Teddy, you remember when you said I actually felt it.
It happened.
I actually felt it. But that is little girl. I've got two daughters, so I know how such feelings are like. When
Yeah.
They might get on my nerves, but within the next minute they've made it up. It's just beautiful. And if you've not been able to, you can always draw from the strength that you've had, from your mom, the kind of upbringing that she's given. You can always, take pride in that, and daddy's always going to be looking down at you with a big smile on his face. So yes, so far there's not been any features.
No.
Though was that deliberate? Because I know that in the past you've given so many singles. You've had collaborations here and there, but was that deliberate that we get to see Adina as she's meant to be on that big stage?
It wasn't the plan from the beginning. We didn't have any stiff, rules that say this is how we do the album. We just had a vibe. We had a theme in mind. We knew it had to be based on my life and some of the things that I draw strength from. But we didn't know. We were hoping we could get some features in. By the time that we recorded the album, other artists that we tried to reach out to were also working on similar projects. And so it just didn't work because, people need to be mentally present.
Yeah, ready.
To be able to deliver.
Ready.
And they just weren't there. So when we speak to you and it's like it's not a good time, we get it because we've also been there before and we just keep it moving, say thank you and keep it moving. So maybe with the other projects that are coming up, that will happen.
I love the vibe. Thank you, and we keep it moving. But I think maybe it was meant to be, that we get a standout performance from you on this album.
It's my very first album.
Exactly.
That's about me. And it was necessary that I told my story myself.
Exactly. You own it.
However, the next song.
Exactly.
We have a feature, don't we?
I'm going there. I saw Kiddy in London when he was here. I had him on the show and we talked about, the two of you, your collaborations. I think if there is any musical marriage, it's Kiddy and Adina.
I agree with you. And I was telling him that from the onset, I always kind of saw my voice as the female version of his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because the synergy, the kind of things we agree on, we're in sync, is too like this, And he's been writing songs for me way, way, way before we even did a song together.
Yeah.
So it's just like he was the best person. And he was also part of the album writing process.
Mm-hmm.
He would come around, game over. I think he wrote the chorus. I know they look again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And other songs. He sprinkled his gold dust on some of the songs. So yeah, he's been a part of the journey, and I think he was the best person to be featured.
And that is the track Runaway.
Yes.
I know that there's no way you can run away with someone like Kiddy and not be found. His voice will give him up.
I not be found.
His looks will give him up. You can't hide Kiddy. So no matter how far you run away, we're always going to know that is Kiddy on it. But the two of you, and I'm sure there's a lot of similarities as well. You're both mommy's children. He also lost the dad. He told me he lost the dad too.
Not to cut you, but one of his favorite songs on the album is Daddy's Little Girl. And he wanted to change it to Daddy's Little Boy.
I know.
Because he's got a similar story as mine. And he really connects to his father's side. And he wishes that everything he's been able to achieve, he was there to see. So it's similar.
So maybe that's why your energy, really connects there. And
it's in sync.
Do you think that there's possibility of an album, a duet, you and Kiddy? I would love to see that. Richie.
Yeah, that would.
Richie, Albert, Swift, come on, let's make this happen, man.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think that's.
No, I don't think it's something that can't happen. I think once we make up our minds, it's very easy to achieve something like that. So we'll work on it.
But what was the vibe recording this one? I know you've done collaborations before. What was different for Runaway?
Runaway was the very first song that we recorded when we started the album.
Oh, okay.
Because we had just come back from the lockdown. And Charlie, we were home. everybody was itching to like go somewhere. People wanted the borders to be open. They wanted this whole COVID case to be over so that we could go back to our normal lives. And so that's where the inspiration came from. So I think Kitty even wrote the first part.
Okay.
Give me that sunlight. Give me that special feeling. And then later on, so we wrote the first verse, we put a pin in it, and then we waited till I think most of the songs were finished before we finished the second verse.
So
and he came to do the second verse.
What do you take to the studio? What is Adina's pack for studio when you're getting to record?
Well, fortunately for me, we had people there to make sure we were good. So there was Debbie, shout outs to Debbie, who always made sure any food we wanted.
Oh, Debbie Vanessa.
What?
One Love sister Debbie.
No, not Debbie.
Oh,
Vanessa.
there is another.
Debbie, she works with Links.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so Debbie so I didn't have to carry anything. I just had to take my mind, and I had to make sure I was like fresh.
Of course,
slept enough, because everything else we needed, we always need food, beverages, and it was COVID time, so we're always trying to avoid catching a cold or getting a flu or something like that. So we always had like tea, hot water,
the lemon, yeah,
on standby. If anybody was feeling away, Charlie, here, apple cider, ginger, and all that.
Exactly. So how are you keeping up though? How are you? I think I'm not sure if I asked earlier, but how are you? How have you dealt with the whole COVID period?
I mean, COVID was hard on creatives. It was hard on performers because we couldn't do our job. But we found ways to adjust. We found the online thing, like we're doing these interviews on Zoom and other platforms. We're doing that a lot, and it helped us to connect with our audience. In terms of remuneration, most of the shows are virtual shows, so you can't really charge people. People are also going through things, so it's even heartless to try and say, you're watching me on live or like on a live thing, so pay this, So that was a bit tricky, but we're picking up slowly. Things are getting better. They are opening up more things, so we're kind of okay now.
But I think you had a good time in New Zealand and Samoa, and is it Samoa they call? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, Kwame will send photos of kind of reaction and it's incredible scenes. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
The kind of reaction the treatment they gave you was like, presidency. How did that come about? What made that connect? Because if you're looking at places where you feel your music will be consumed, we're looking at somewhere like Europe, around the world like that. But for the massive turnout in those places that you think, African music is not going to reach, was just incredible. What was the story like?
We released "Killing Me Softly," and we realized that we were getting a lot of messages, fan mails, and text and tweets, and people will be mentioning you saying, "We love your song I'm from Fiji and I really love your song. I'm from Hawaii and I love your song. I'm from Samoa and I love your music." And we're like, okay. So I didn't even know of Samoa until someone said that. And I was like, yo, let me go look it up. And I did. And it was such a beautiful, such beautiful photos. I was like, wow. And the thing kept coming and coming and coming. And that Christmas, they basically used "Killing Me Softly" for their Christmas celebrations.
Oh, yeah.
There were videos,
absolutely.
Yeah, there were videos where people went for family getaways, and the only song they're playing and jamming, grandmothers, every uncle's is "Oh my baby." I was like, what's going on? So some of their promoters started, hitting us up to say, your songs are big out here and we would love for you to come and do a show. What's the process? So I gave them Kwame's contacts, and Kwame spoke to a few other, promoters, and he finally agreed to work with Peter Guns, who's also a DJ. So yeah, and that's how the marriage happened, and we made the plans, and we were out there.
I think you've got a fourth country. So you've got Liberia, you've got Ghana, you've got South Africa, you've got Samoa. That's like places that
I've got South Pacific. Because if
South
I just go
Pacific.
to, I just
Yes.
because people in Fiji are calling me, people in Samoa are calling me, people at Cook Islands are calling me. That's why I got my tattoo, by the way. Oh, and
Oh,
speaking of which,
wicked.
I got this thing from there as well.
Oh, all right. Yeah, lovely. You see,
That's New Zealand.
coincidence, you know.
I know.
But the next tour, regardless of where I am, I'll make sure I'm on that. I'm on. Oh man, those scenes were incredible. You know, it's like those. Oh man, beautiful though.
And by far, it's the best experience of my life, of my entire career. No disrespect to my people in Ghana that show me love, but to see that people from somewhere else, there were no blacks, there were no Ghanaians involved.
Yeah,
you understand? Totally different
vibe,
people.
different crowd.
Exactly.
Different vibe.
And they just loved me, and they knew my face. They knew me.
That's the thing. They've got to love you to have that massive demand there.
Exactly.
You know,
and I've got a lot of following from their side as well on my social media. Anything I post, they're there to comment and say, "I love you, Adina." Like it's beautiful. Even for this album, they've been supporting and saying, "We can't wait." You know, shout outs to you. Like it's beautiful, and I can't wait for them to hear it.
Well, it's out now. Make sure you grab it wherever you are around the world if you love it. So. The 8th track, Jeje, you know.
Yeah.
When I hear the track, I think of a place like Afrikiko on a Thursday evening, live band, you know, that feel there. I'm like, but if I listen to the words as well, who is this cheap person you were singing about on the track? Who's that cheapo?
Was that who?
Who is that cheap man who was being so cheap on there? Because let me tell this story before. So when was it 2017 that we went to Michael Dapper's show, Christmas? Was it 2017 or
2017?
Yes, yeah. And we ordered some fried rice. You know, listen, people, none of you have had a chance of saying that or Adina having a fried rice in a car somewhere. You know, and I never acted cheap. I've got to say, I paid. So this song is definitely not about me. It's not about me.
Oh my God!
Who is this cheap? Who is this cheapo?
But the twist to the story is he actually wasn't cheap. He was trying to test to see if the girl really liked him.
Okay.
You know? Because it turns out that the restaurant was for him. So he was putting on an act to say, Charlie, he can't take the bill, like he can't pay. Then the lady paid. The lady was like, Charlie, I was still feeling you, so you let me just pay. Then he's smiling. He's like, why are you smiling? And she was like, this place is for me. I wanted to know if you liked me for real. I was like,
that's a dope story. That's a dope story.
Yeah,
you know, we coming to the end of this album. You know, we on track 9. We gain all the vibe. You know, Midofo is like the Jeje vibe as well. You know, you got that live band feel to it. How much of because I know you do a lot of live performances, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You must love it, you know. You must love being with the band there, giving us that vocal. Because you're one of the artists that when you sing, regardless of whether it's studio or it's live or even on this call, it still sounds, you know, pretty much the same. You know?
Thank you.
So what is your, like, what do you think of when you're on stage? What runs through your mind? Do you look at the crowd or you do what you have to do?
I try to work with the audience. Usually whenever I step on the stage, people are like, oh my God, wow. So I use that positive energy, like I use it to my advantage. So I see that somebody's smiling and like trying to dance to the song. I'll move to them or I'll use their energy, I bounce it off. And so basically I work with the audience to get whatever vibes it is. And yeah, I think about my audience a lot before I go on stage because it's necessary to know the kind of people that will be there, to know the kind of vibe to give them, you know?
So, you know, a lot of young girls look up to you because of your personality. You know, you are mentoring up and coming artists now. You know, you're leading by example. do you get worried that, there's too much of a responsibility on your shoulders because you're still young, you've got to also lead your life, How do you get that balance?
I feel in the beginning I was worried because I don't like it when people keep telling me, "Oh my God, you're so decent." Not that I don't like it. It just felt overwhelming. They're like, "Oh, you're so decent, and I want to be like you, and my children like you, and you are the only artist that can let my children listen to your song." I'm like, this is too much. But I've come to accept it because I've realized that there's nothing I can do about it. It's who I am that is attracting this kind of attention. So if it's put me in a place of a lead, like in the shoes of a leader, then I'm going to try and impact into the lives of the young ones. Because, simultaneously, I care a lot about the young generation. Growing up, I'm always saying that I'm blessed to have the kind of upbringing that my mom gave me because it helped to shape me. There are a lot of things that I'm not involved in that if I didn't have that kind of upbringing, I probably would be. And so I care about the young generation. And if I am the person that people are saying they're looking up to, then great. I would do my bit to try and help. I'll do what I can to help. I'm happy to.
Because I see the comments on post and, when certain people, we're not here to tell anybody how they should lead their life. But, you always brought into the conversation that, it's a typical example of you can put your clothes on and still have the following and still have the support of people. You don't always have to expose the flesh, So yes, at least there is something to compare. That's what we can be grateful for. But hey.
But let me just quickly say about that. Sometimes you can't really blame the people that decide to take like alternative routes because we, the consumers all around the world, will quickly and happily support that vibe. You understand? They will criticize it and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" But if you come and put it out there, they will comment, they will share, they will make it what it becomes. Like we support it, we give it. So somebody has seen that it's worked for person A. So because they want to blow, they'll take the route. It's the easiest route. You understand?
Okay.
So sometimes you can't really blame them. I'm not saying it's great, but you can't really blame them. They're also trying to survive.
No, I'm not in that position to be calling on what people should do.
So, yeah.
Each to themselves, but at least we have a balance. That's the most important bit. So we should be grateful for that. That there is a balance there. There is two ways to look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
So yes, Araba, the album, we've gone through 9 tracks. We get into the end of it. Forever Young, that is the 10th track on it. If you've got to go out, you've got to go out with a bang, and that's what clearly you showed us on this one.
I like that you said that.
We've got to boogie.
Exactly what we thought of.
We've got to boogie. Yeah. So you gave us that party vibe on that one. You surely did, and you're looking Forever Young too. So what's the story What's the story behind Forever Young?
Forever Young was written by Kitty, and it's just really a song to say that you want to be able to live your life and live it to the fullest, so that even if your time here is supposed to be short, once you're gone, you'll still be remembered for, the good that you did or the massive impacts that you brought, So it's really about living life to the fullest. YOLO,
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations on a solid album. 10 tracks.
Thank you.
And I can't wait. I can't wait for the world to open up again, because I know the demand once the album drops is going to be like incredible. Once the opportunity arrives where you can go on tour, you can be out there showcasing this. So what's the immediate plans for this?
So for now, that is out. We're just going to push it more. We've got distribution, platforms. So we're working actively on that. We're also going to work actively on taking it to different parts of Ghana to do like a listening or like a breakdown, like what we've done. Just to take people through the journey so they understand. Because some of, the nature of this album is, because of the nature of the album, you need to kind of introduce it to people, let them understand that it's not the usual vibe, but it's also solid with messages. So we're gonna try and reach out to different people as a way of promoting the album. But I think that already people are getting excited about certain song choices. People have started picking their favorites. So it's exciting, you know. I can't wait to see how well it will do on its own. We are putting in the work in the back.
Yeah, of course.
But what happens after is in God's hands, and I can't wait to see how far it's gonna go.
Amen. And how do you want people to take this album in? What's your best recipe for listening to this?
Well, you need your headphones in, or you need to crank up your speakers if that's what you're going for, or if it's in a car. It's like you can either be driving, it could be a road trip, going anywhere, or you could be in your room, or you could be by yourself.
Yes. So yeah, of course, we wishing you the best, sister, and I can't wait to touch down where we can go for another fried rice again. You know, no, maybe this time fufu. We haven't done fufu yet. So.
Listen, fufu is the one.
Yeah. I think that's the one that, you know. So I'm sure you've worked with a lot of. You mentioned Kiddy helping with the writing. Who else has contributed to this that you want to reach out to?
I want to say shout outs to Richie Mensah. We've already mentioned it, but I need to mention again. Shout outs to Sam. Sam is an artist, a gospel musician actually, on Links Entertainment. He was also present to, you know, give his bits. DJ Vyroski also did some writing. Mr. Swift, actually, my manager, Kwame Fachi, also did some writing on the album. Shout out to me, because I also did some writing.
Yeah.
And to my mom for her contributions and everyone else. Oh, Mark, there was the bass line in the Y song.
Oh, that's deep.
He did that. And other things on, like, he also played some live instruments in some of the other songs. So shout out to you, Mark of Characters Band. Yeah.
Oh, well.
And to Debbie, hospitality, everybody that came through to make sure that the whole process was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Album is out now, Araba, 10-track album. Yeah, we just make sure that you grab it and take it in as it's supposed to, you know, and wishing you all the best, you know. Congrats again.
Thank you.
And thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.